Hello everybody again. Today I'm going to explain the second step I take in my teaching, in my program to teach Spanish as a second language. As a review, I want to remind you that I already uploaded one video that explains the first step, the beginning of the beginning in my program in order to teach Spanish as a second language. In that video you can see that I give my students a list of verbs, a very important list of verbs for them to memorize, as well as we saw also one of the big characteristics of the Spanish language, which is the conjugations, the regular verb conjugations. All right, so the second step is gonna be grammar constructions, building sentences. I will always say that learning languages is like building a puzzle, okay? And we need pieces. We need pieces in order to build that puzzle. I explained one of the most important things, which is Spanish is based on conjugations. So all the verbs are being conjugated almost in every sentence. And now we're going to see constructions, how to start constructing and building sentences. So the first one, there are three constructions that I'm going to explain today, okay? And these are constructions, there are sentences, in order to say sentences, that express immediate actions, all right? We cannot, in the second day or the second week, start telling our students to use grammar to explain things in the past tense, or no. Immediate actions. I learned this because when I was learning English by myself, I realized that the first grammar that I was using in order to have communication with my friends, that happened like 9 years ago, it was this grammar, the grammar that I'm going to explain today. That's why I think it's so important to explain this grammar immediately to the students. First, conjugations son personal pronouns, yo, tú, él, ella, nosotros, vosotros, ellos, which is I, you, he, she, they. I explained that already in the first video. And now constructing and building sentences. So in order to build sentences, I think the first step, the first construction you have to explain to the students, it's going to be to have to plus the verb in infinitive. The verb in infinitive means the verb plain, the verb not conjugated, not in past tense, not in future tense, like for example, to see, to learn, to study, to help. Those are verbs plain in infinitive, okay? So in Spanish it's gonna be tener que más infinitivo. Tener means to have. And it's a verb that the students need to learn, as I say, in the second class. Incredibly important verb. It's irregular verb, that's why all these yellow parts are the irregularities, but I'm not going to explain the irregularities today. It's not about that, today's class. The second verb is gonna be ir, okay? Ir is the second important verb that we're going to see today in order to build sentences. Ir is to go. Tener and to go, key verbs. Key verbs in order to learn languages. I think any language, for any language, okay? But for Spanish, as you can see today, key. And the third one we are going to see today is going to be poder. And poder is can. And can is also fundamental, okay? In order to have communication. All right, so this is the construction. Let's focus first on tener, okay? I want to teach my students the following thing. To say, for example, I have to study, okay? As I said, when I was learning English by myself, I realized that I was using this grammar all the time because it was a great tool. I have to say to my friends, I have to buy a soda, I have to study, I have to, okay? And then what we're going to do today, we're going to see it with all the conjugation. She has to, they have to, we have to, okay? This is the first one. Why do I like, or why I like so much to start with this grammar and not with series star? Series star is the verb to be. To be is incredibly important too, in any language. I am, you are, he, she's, they are, okay? And in Spanish, we have the to be, we have two verbs in just one, which is ser y estar, two verbs. And that makes it confusing. That's the reason why I don't want to start from to be before explaining this. I want to start from these constructions first, and then I want to teach in the near future to be. But I prefer to start from here for one reason. First, to be is complex. There are two verbs in just one. Secondly, to be requires to the students to learn adjectives and adverbs, and they are not ready yet. And remember that in the first class I gave the students a list of verbs in order for them to memorize. So right now the students should be still memorizing those verbs. What this grammar is going to allow me, is going to help me a lot. This grammar that we're going to see today is going to help me, the students, or it's going to help the students to practice and put into practice, actually, the verbs they are memorizing on the list that I gave them. So I'm combining lessons. By practicing with this grammar, they are practicing the vocabulary that I gave them for them to study. Okay? Alright, so let's focus first one on the first one. Tener que plus infinitive, which is to have to, so I have to study, she has to help, we have to learn. That is going to be the grammar with that one. Here we have another grammar, ir, okay, and this is going to be, attention here, I am going to study, she is going to learn, they are going to find. Then we need more vocabulary in the future. But first, let's start from the constructions, okay? And this is going to be, I can study, they can learn Spanish. Poder actually is can, but it could be also may and might, okay? Anyway, so these are the grammars. One is I have to study, she has to learn, they have to read a book. The other one is going to be I am going to study, she is going to read a book, they are going to help, we are going to see, okay? And then we need to put into practice, as I said, the vocabulary. So the first one is going to be like this, okay? Here I have some examples for tener, okay? Tener que más infinitive. I want to show you some things here. I'll leave this here. So, yo tengo to, the personal pronouns are here, and these are going to be the conjugations. One more time, as you can tell, this important verb is going to be conjugated all the time, okay? So, here we go. Yo tengo que estudiar. I have to study. Okay, it's important to see first, I'm putting this here in brackets for one reason, as I said in the first class. In Spanish, due to we conjugate verbs all the time, many times we don't have to say, we don't need to say the personal pronoun. Because if I say only tengo, it's clear that it's me. Okay? Yo tengo is only I have. Okay? So I'm putting it in brackets for you to know one more time that we might use it or not. Okay? And then, this is important. Why do I like to teach this very soon to my students too? Because the structures really match. And when the structures match, okay, the students see it and they say, wow, it's not that hard. It is not that hard when the structures don't match, because with other languages don't match, and sometimes with the Spanish don't match either. You know, that confuses the students. Okay, so this important grammar in this important grammar, the structures match, and this is good for their motivation. Okay. All right. Important, also very important. Que for this grammar it works like to. But this is going to bring future problems because que is a huge word in Spanish. Que is used like what as an interrogative pronoun in order to make questions, to question things or to ask questions. To another, sometimes in Spanish is like a, but in this moment I want the student to just focus on the form, focus on how to build it. This is just grammar. Then, nosotros tenemos que estudiar, second example. Okay, we have to help. Okay, one more time. Everything match. Okay, or everything matches. We have to help. Okay? Okay, and one more time, you see here that the students are practicing. They have to use the vocabulary that I gave them at the beginning of the course or the class. In the first class, I gave them this vocabulary. They have to put it into practice, and it's super important. And the last example. Ellos tienen que aprender. They have to learn. Okay, so everything matches again. So this is gonna be the first practice for the students, the first construction, the first time that the students are going to see themselves making sentences. Because, okay, only with knowing how to conjugate verbs, this is important, but they are not really making sentences. But from now on, this is the second class, from now on they are going to see themselves making sentences, which is gonna be great. This is the beginning, okay? How to start building sentences. And they can practice here too, the personal pronouns, okay? The vocabulary of the personal pronouns, they're practicing here too. Also, I know in the near future they are going to start adding some vocabulary here. Like for example here, español, español, Spanish, or in the future, I want to explain, in the next class, I want to explain, nosotros tenemos que ayudar a mi madre, to my mom, or help my mom, mi madre. Ellos tienen que aprender español again. They can build bigger and bigger sentences, but everything starts from here, okay? From this construction. Okay. Now, I'm going to teach you how to build sentences with ir a más infinitivo, which is yo voy a estudiar, which is I am going to study, or she's going to learn, ella va a aprender. Okay, so the first example is going to be nosotros vamos a trabajar. You can see here, nosotros vamos a trabajar, which means we are going to work. Okay, the students are going to realize one thing here, and it might confuse them a little bit. They are going to say, hey, maestro or teacher, before it was I have to study, is tengo que trabajar, which was the to, the vocabulary, you know, it was going to be que. And in this case, to is a, because for example, it matches like this, okay? We are going to, the grammar is that. And now we need to tell the students, this is grammar. This has nothing to do with going anywhere. This is, I am going to do something. So it's like an action. And the action word is this one. Okay? So this is the grammar. We use it all the time, this grammar. I'm gonna study, I'm gonna tell you, I'm going to, okay? This is ir, or ir, to go. It's a very irregular verb, but the students need to learn this verb like this, because we are using it all the time. You can see here on this grammar, as well as in many other situations. Okay? Ir, to go, is a verb that the students need to learn like this. Okay, second. Okay, another example. Ellas van a hablar. They are going to speak. Okay, so this is the grammar they need to learn. Using this, adding this preposition, and this is going to be in the future when I explain, or when you as a teacher explain the verb to be, it might cause some complications too, but right now we don't mind that. Right now what we want is the student to start building sentences, and building sentences by using also the vocabulary we gave them the first day of class, which is this one: hablar, trabajar. Aconsejar. Okay, another one. Tú vas a aconsejar, which means you are going to advise. Okay, these dots over here. What is the beauty of this exercise? The beauty of this exercise is that gives you, or gives also the students room to build bigger and bigger and bigger sentences. Here, ellos van a hablar, then you are going to start explaining from now on. This is the second class, the third class. From now on, start explaining the students the prepositions and conjunctions. For example, one, hablar con mi madre. Ellas van a hablar con mi madre, okay? Which means with my mom or mother. Okay? One more time. It keeps matching everything. Okay? The languages keep matching everything. And when the students, 2 weeks after starting to learn Spanish, when they see that they are able to build sentences like this in just 2 weeks of learning, their motivation is going to be, ooh, I love this. This is, there are gonna come some complications in the future because not everything matches. But in 2 weeks, if they see that they can do this like this, they are gonna be happy, okay? The prepositions and conjunctions, we are going to add them progressively, okay? And the most important ones and the most used ones first. All right, and here I have the last examples, okay? We are going to focus right now on poder, which is can or may. It's the easiest one. It's the easiest one for the students because it matches perfectly, okay? Yo puedo, can hablar. See here, yo puedo, the conjugation is yo puedo hablar, okay? And here, for example, one more time, all of them, I could put all the personal pronouns in brackets because we choose. Right? In Spanish, we choose if we want to use it or we don't want to use it. Here, I put it in brackets, okay? But it's gonna be you is to. Attention here, for first time, I'm teaching the negative. And I'm doing it on purpose right now because I want to teach you something extra. Okay, puedes is can. Okay, conjugated with to, and comprender, entender is to understand. In Spanish, in order to build negative sentences, and this is gonna be my next class, my next video. Okay? So in Spanish, it's pretty easy actually. In English, it's a little bit confusing. Sometimes it's I cannot do this. I don't do this, she doesn't do that. It's kind of confusing, especially for Spanish speakers. But in Spanish, in order to build negative sentences, we follow this simple rule, which is we write always no after the preposition. No, sorry, after the personal pronoun. These are personal pronouns. Yo, tú, él. A ver, here again. Yo, tú, él, ella, usted. These are personal pronouns. We always write no after the personal pronoun. That is the way we build negative sentences in Spanish, which is important to know too. Okay, that's gonna be my third class. All right, so if we do that, we have the structure properly made in order to say negative sentences. So this is the second class. This is the second class. And so far it's gonna be conjugations. We know conjugations, how to build conjugations. Another important thing that I want to say about conjugations, you can see here, and in all the examples that I have given you today, you can see that I'm conjugating one, but I'm not conjugating the other verb. Here I'm conjugating this one, but I'm not conjugating this one. Wow. And that is something we need to explain to our students too. I'm gonna explain this in my next video too. I'm gonna focus more intensely on this one. Okay, attention. So this is important. We only conjugate the verb that is coming after the personal pronoun. Okay? We only conjugate one. Okay? And it's the verb that is coming after the personal pronoun. If I, for example, imagine I make a longer sentence, you can see here that one more time, I am conjugating puedo. Okay? Puedes, tú no puedes, and here yo puedo. I'm conjugating again. Okay? Yes, this is a long sentence, but remember always that here this is a conjunction. The conjunction is the word that links two sentences. This is one sentence and this is another sentence. Okay? So in Spanish we only conjugate one verb each sentence. Okay? In this sentence we have two verbs, but we conjugate the one that is coming after the personal pronoun. Okay? And not this one. We don't conjugate two. Okay? Only the one that is coming after the personal pronoun. It's very clear in all these examples of conjugations. Okay, that you have to, as a teacher, you have to give these packages to the students, definitely, otherwise they don't study, or they cannot learn. Okay, so this is the explanation. Okay, these are the constructions, the first grammar constructions the students have to start from in order to start building bigger sentences and in order to acquire a foundation in order to have communication in a near future. Okay, see you next time.